Good morning. This is Meri at the Meri Atelier, and it is Friday, June the 13th. Welcome to my desk. Welcome to my desk. I thought I would show you how I tat a split ring this morning and work in my workbook. I'll probably work in my packing paper journal. We're just going to do various things this morning. Let me get my desk set up here. Okay, I think this will do for now. Let me get set up on my note tab. My notepad, so that I can see folks coming in. And let's see, I get my other phone out here. What did I do with my other phone? Oh, I set it there. Okay, it's ready. Let me go to my channel. There I am. There's my live stream. Come on. And it's been a little slow this morning. There was an internet outage yesterday that affected a lot of people, but it did not seem to affect my work. So what you're looking at is my desk here, and I have a Lang calendar holder that I use as a let's straighten out my camera a little. When I'm a lap desk, when I'm sitting in my recliner. Let's see, let's set things up while I'm waiting for folks to come in. Chat filter, all messages. And let's set the quality up. I'm over on my notepad that I use to read comments. Quality, and then I watch my stream there too. There we go, we're up to 1080. So welcome in. I have a happy mail from Miss Arlene. Let's go ahead and open that right now. I guess I'll just open it. I don't know which side is the top side here. Here we go. Got the short blade on these scissors. There we go. Chat filter. Chat filter. All messages. If you're up in the balcony, that's quite all right. It's a Friday morning. We're off to a weekend. Come in here. Open this envelope, if I may. It's kind of a tight fit. This come from Arlene. Oh. It says kindness. Oh, look, and it's handmade. Oh, that's so pretty. A piece of rickrack going across this way, some little sequins. It says kindness is many small gestures that together make all the difference in the world. And if you open it up, it says, I pray that you are having a fabulous week, Arlene. And over here is a jar. It says, sending up very special prayers for you. Ah. Jesus is my jam. Oh, I love it. I love it, Arlene. Jesus is my jam, too. All right. Well, I'm going to put this in my Happy Mail bucket. Thank you, Arlene. Put it right in there. I've got some postcards I sent to myself from when we did some postcard swaps. Who popped in here? It was Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. Well, I showed these in my short video that I did yesterday. This is a project I'm working on for the Fibdiggity Creators membership group. For the folks that come live, we're going to have if you're a member of the Fibdiggity Creators, which is the second room, we're going to have a stream Monday night. And for the folks that attend my live streams, I do them for the creators group twice a month. And Monday night at 7:30 Central. And I like to send a little thank you. And I usually have between 12 and 15 folks. It depends on who's busy. Sometimes there's only 10 of us, but that's a good group for... Otherwise, I'd be making 400 of these, and you may or may never get them. But they're going to be dangles. They're going to be dangles on a tag, on a little something they can put in their journal. But I like this so much. I thought, man, this would make a beautiful, beautiful tassel. Okay, so I've already really showed that yesterday. But I am doing another one that I'm calling, this is kind of twisted together because I'm doing different techniques. Like this is a wider piece, and it's kind of tangled together because I had it in my basket at the bottom. This is just, I was practicing the technique that they called front side, back side. And I just made an edging there, but I thought I would put it in my tassel. And then I have different techniques. This is just a string of chains with Picasso in the middle of them. And this one is just a string of, let me get it off here. And I'm not sure you can see these close up. I'm just kind of talking through it. This one is just a double stitch chain. And I put all sorts of Picasso in it when I was working. This is very relaxing to do. And by the time you get all these together, now this is going to be a longer tassel. But by the time you get all of these together, and I've got some more that I worked on several weeks ago. This one has black buttons on it. Looks like I got a note here. No, that's an old note. This one I put little rings and some black buttons on it. Let me put these together here. And this one. And I'll zoom in a bit. This is a shorter one. It probably will not go with these. This one I was just playing with. If I put it in, I'll put it like this. And this one I call my string of rings. These are what they call true rings with needle tatting. And I like to do these because I can sit and do them. I don't have to worry about rethreading my needle or closing the ring or Picasso or anything like that. And that'll go there. Here's another real short one that I probably will not use in this tassel. I was just playing with rings and chains. It's not even that stitched that nice. And here's another string. I call these string of rings. I don't know how much you guys are seeing of this. I'll hold it up closer once I get them all separated. And here's another one. String of rings. And then I've got one on here. Let me take it off of here. I'll put all of these together. Looks like I got it tied in there. And this just, it's really relaxing to do these if you just don't want to, sort of like crocheting, if you just want to sit and tat. So already I'm getting a pretty thick tassel, and I've got more. Let's see what I have on here. If I can get it off. I'm catching on to these. Here we go. I got some more on here. And I've got some that I put beads and buttons on, but I can't put my hands on them right now. And one more. And I'll hold these up so that you can see them a little better. So when you put all of these together, it'll make a luscious, and get them all sorted out and everything. They're kind of, they make a beautiful, beautiful, they'll make a beautiful tassel. And that's just about as thick as I think I want to make. I might not put that button one in there because it's kind of lonely by itself. And you could do beads and buttons and charms, and you could put a lot of different things in here. I'm thinking about getting some more tape ribbon and mixing some tape ribbon in here to coordinate with this. So I'm going to wrap this around here. Hopefully it will wrap around for me, so I won't have to separate too much of it out again. So I just play with this, and this is kind of an ongoing thing for me, kind of something I do to relax. Let me set this aside. Now, another thing that I want to do is, I like this one so much that I'm going to make one. Looks like these fell out of there. No, this was a bookmark that I'm working on. This is something different. I'm going to make one out of this thread for myself. And let me zoom in a little at this point because you're pretty far away. I wanted to show you my desk setup here. So let me zoom in, way in, so you can see things. All right, so this will be my working surface here. What I have in here is, I'm not a shuttle tatter, but I'm going to learn. And that's what we were supposed to have a class yesterday. I'm going to take this key out of here. The key does not belong in there. But this is for the shuttle tatting class. I got 3 shuttles here. And of course, I'll have different colors of thread. That I'm waiting for the beginner class to begin. Put that key in my drawer here. So, let me welcome folks in. Cynthia's here. She says, good morning, Meri. Nancy Widner. Hi, Nancy. Welcome in. Let me put these up here so you can see them better. I had 3 of them. I only got 2 here. Well, there's another one around here someplace. Doesn't matter. I'll run across it. Probably in with those that I put over to the side. Let's see, Nancy Widner is here, Cynthia McCoy, welcome in, Angie Brown, Mary Jacqueline won't be selling tonight as she has a death in the family. I know. She told me that she had a death in the family. So, thank you, Angie, for passing that around. Boy, I hope things go okay there. Let me put this aside. Hugs to Jacqueline. Keep Jacqueline and her family in your hearts and prayers. I don't know too much about who passed away, but Sylvia, good morning, Miss Sylvia. It's good to see you. She says, good morning, everyone. Wonderful to be able to watch Miss Meri. Hi, Sylvia. You are so kind. Lovely work. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia says, imagine having a strand of Meri's tatting for a marker in your Bible. That would be interesting, Sylvia. Do I have your address? Sylvia, send me your address. The Meri Atelier at gmail.com. I think I have it, but I'm not sure. I'll send you, what's your color preferences? I'll see if I can't do a dangle for your Bible. I might make it a little bit longer than this. And wouldn't it be neat to put a cross at the end of it? Wouldn't that be fun? I can do that. A little silver cross charm. I probably have them all over the place. Good morning, Miss Becky. It's good to see you. Jacqueline is taking it hard. Oh my goodness. I wonder if it's immediate family. I haven't talked too much to her about the death in the family, but I did know that happened. I don't know who it is. It was her cousin? Oh, thank you, Angie. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Sometimes you're close to your cousins and your, I'm not close to any cousins. Most of them that I had are all older now, and they're out in California. I mean, not Colorado. And the cousins on my dad's side, I don't even know. But I know a death in the family, when you're close to a family member like that, it is pretty hard to take. Thank you for passing that on, Angie. All right. So I thought what I would do is kind of talk through a couple rings, maybe a chain, just depending. It takes me about a half an hour of steady work. And it'll probably take me a little longer tonight or this morning, because I'm going to be chatting. But it takes me, when I'm just sitting in my chair tatting, it takes me about a half an hour to do a chain like this. So I'm going to work on this. And this thread is variegated thread that I got at Hobby Lobby. They had a box of it on sale. And I picked the brown out here, browns and cream colors. And I'm going to set it here. And all you need to do this is your needle and your needle threader. For the split chains that I'm going to be doing, your needle threader becomes your friend. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is thread my needle. And I always want to thread the pointed end. Let me get the, sometimes I have to hold it close to my nose even to see the hole here. There we go. And take the end of your thread and just, I don't have good lighting in here. Now these are tatting needles that I'm using. Whoops, I didn't get it. So I can't see where that wire is. It's a very thin wire. There we go. So pull your thread just a short distance. You don't need a long distance. Short, long enough that it won't fall back through. And then when you pull your, when you have a wire like this that's attached, this comes from Handy Hands, this needle threader. I like to pull the wire up close to the needle and just pull it through. And I get my tatting needles at Handy Hands. They sell them in a set. This is a size 5 needle, and it works quite well with size 10 thread. And this is size 10 thread. So for a split chain, usually you don't need, depending on what you're doing, you don't need a huge space in here on your needle. But because we're doing split chains, on one side of the chain, we are tatting off of the tail thread here. And I'll show that later. So to complete an entire chain here, I estimated that I need about 4 feet of thread on my needle. So I just do nose to wrist to get a yard, and then I add another foot. And that gives me enough thread to have some dangling too for the tassel. So about, let me put it down on the, about 4 feet of thread. And the first ring is not a split ring. Let me move these aside here. And while I'm doing this, I want to show you this. I have these sticky mats. And they are really good to hold things down. Like this box will not move. I have an eye case up here. Now you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to take my other phone and sign on to my own channel. Whoops, I got news. And let me get to my YouTube. I've been watching car crashes. I go, the car crashes are modern day, whoops, let me turn it down. Our modern day cowboy and Indians, Arkansas and Florida and all over the world when watching these car crashes. Thank you, Angie. HandyHandsTatting.com. Yes, thank you, Becky, for putting that link. Let's go there. Handy Hands Tatting. And because I'm on my phone, let's go. Let's go to threads, tatting, home, crochet, essentials maybe for the needles. Notions, hooks. I need a tiny, tiny crochet hook. I'm going to go in there. Hankies. Where did she put the needles? Is there a search on that? Well, anyway, that's where you can go to get your Is there a search here? Home, gifts, tips, and free. Lisbeth thread, metallic brown, so the thread, tatting. Shuttles, books, needles, there we go. Tatting needles. And you can get yarn needles and thread needles. And here, I think this is the set I buy, 3 through 0, and then they add a size 8, which is it size 8 or 18? They add an extra one in there. And look, they're only $4.80. And here's size 5 through 0 here. I think I usually get this set. This might be, is this a set? I'd have to look a little bit more. This might just be one needle. You can get a set of them, I think, which is a little bit more. But go explore that site. If you're serious about tatting, let me go back into my channel here. Did I get out of it? There we go. If you're serious about tatting, I would say invest in some tatting needles. I'm going to turn my and come into my stream here, and I'm going to set my camera, and you won't see it because of the way I have it positioned on here, but I can see what I'm doing. I could move my camera to show you, but I'm not going to. And am I on the live? I'm not on my red button. There we go. Oh, you can kind of see it where you can see the bottom of my. Okay. So now I've threaded my needle. I have about 4 feet of thread here. Keep your needle threader handy because we will be using the needle threader, which comes in this set when you buy a set of needles. All right, I gotta make sure I have the right amount of thread. All right, so I'm just gonna tat here a regular ring, and I want to show you something that I've just started doing. So I'm just going to talk to people who've never tatted before. If you've tatted before, you know this. But there's one basic stitch in tatting, and then there's a lot of variations. So to tat a double, and it's called a double stitch. And to tat a double stitch, you can kind of see my hands up above here. See, I'm watching myself on my phone, which is up above. But to tat a double stitch, all you do is you have this loop. You start tatting about 4 feet away from the end of your needle, and that creates a big old center loop here. And just set that off to the side for now. I wish I could show you this all, but I'm close up. This is my loop in here. So I'm about 4 feet away from my from the end of my needle. And to tat a double stitch, you kind of hold your thread under your needle, hold it between your index finger and your thumb. Now I'm going to speak to right-handed tatters because I'm right-handed. Left-handed tatters will have a few differences because of the way they tat from going this way. They tat with this hand instead of this hand. And then you wrap your thread going to your ball over here. Here's my ball of thread right here. Let's see if I can't set it off to the side there. You wrap it over your index finger. Now, you'll see people tat off of their thumb, and you'll see people do finger tatting. You'll see a lot of ways to hold your needle and hold your thread and tat. But the traditional way is to go over your index finger and around, and then you put your needle under that loop, and you just pull that loop off onto your needle here, and kind of hold it steady between your index finger and your thumb. Then for the second part of this stitch has 2 legs. We did one leg here, we're going to do another leg here. Instead of going over your index finger, you go under and over. And I see people doing this differently too. They have various ways that they tat. I come around to the back of my index finger after I've gone under and over, and I come around and bring my needle under that loop like that. And then you pull it off on your needle, pull it down, and that makes your second leg, and you've done your double stitch. For what I'm going to do for my bottom ring, I'm going to do 4 double stitches, and then I'm going to do a set of 3, 4 double stitches, a set of 3. I'm going to have 4 sets of 3 picots. So we've already got 1 double stitch on there. I'm going to kind of go fast here now. So, well, not real fast because I don't tat fast. So here's my second stitch, my third stitch, and my fourth one. Now I'm ready to do my set of 3 picots. I've got 4 stitches on my needle. So what I do now, at this point you can use what they call a picot gauge. I don't do that. I just haven't trained myself to pick up the picot gauges yet. I bought a set of clover ones, but I kind of eyeball my picots. But if you are serious about tatting, and if you're an experienced tatter, and if you want nice, pretty, even picots, you can use what they call a picot gauge, and it helps you make your picots the same size. But generally, and this is something I've recently learned from Katia, and Katia is associated with the online tatting class, but she's just started her own channel now to teach. Even though it's associated with the online tatting class, she's actually has gone live on her own channel to teach needle tatting classes. We're on a break now for summer, but I have learned so much from her. I have really good things to say, and she is Canadian, so she speaks French, Canadian, American, and but she calls herself Katia, and I like how she says that, but I picked up the name Katia, and I call her Katia. So, but a lot of what I've learned about needle tatting, I have learned from her. I really want to credit her for her excellent teaching skills. I can't even come close. And I'm not really wanting to teach anyway. I'm just demonstrating what I'm doing. So I'm ready to make a medium-sized picot. And how I understand it is a medium-sized picot is the size of the width of 2 of your double stitches. A small one is the size of the width of 1 double stitch, and the larger ones are 3 double stitches. Well, I kind of guesstimate on my fingers here. So I do about a width of maybe 3/8 of an inch for the medium size, which is what I'm going to do next. And then when I'm going to do the larger size, I use about the width of my finger here. The smaller size, you'd come way down. But I'm not going to do a small one. I'm going to do a medium one, which is about to there. So a picot is not all it is this little space of thread here that you're leaving. That's all that a Picasso is made up of, just that little space of thread. And then it's a space of thread between 2 double stitches. Of this set that we have 4 double stitches here, the last stitch is the first stitch on your Picasso, because a Picasso is a space of thread between a double stitch here and a double stitch there, and the Picasso thread would come in between them. So I'm going to do about 3/8 of an inch here, and I'm going to do another double stitch. And kind of hold your thread right in there. That's the first half. I'm going to come around, over and around, and here's the last half. And so there you have, if you can see it here, you have a double stitch, a space of thread, and another double stitch, and then you close that up. Now here's what I've recently started doing, starting last night. Let me set this down for a minute. When I worked on, let me grab one here. I grabbed the whole set. When I worked on these, here are my little sets of 3. I did a medium, a large, and a medium with nothing in between. Now you can put a full double stitch in between, and it leaves a little space in there so these are not so close together, but it does leave that space. And in here there's no spaces at all. I just did Picasso, Picasso, Picasso. But what I've started doing on these, let me grab one of these that I've done. What I've started doing on these is leaving a half stitch in between. And I think they stand out nicer. I think they're prettier. I don't know if I got my half stitch in there. This one's kind of fallen in on itself. You can kind of mess with these and pull them pretty. But I think these are prettier, and let me show you what I do. I've done my first 4 double stitches. I've done a medium-sized Picasso here. So all I do is do the first half of a double stitch. So I just come around my index finger and just do 1/2 of the double stitch. Now I'm ready to do the larger stitch, which is, for me, for my purposes, just about the width of my finger, not quite, about 3/4 at a diagonal. I suppose if you turn it straight up and down, it would be the width of my finger. And I'm going to do a large Picasso here. So 1/2, hold it tight at the end there, and then the second half. And then you close up the gap, and then I'm going to do another half stitch here. And then I'm going to do another medium stitch, medium Picasso. So there's 1/2 of it, the Picasso, and the other half. And I only do those half stitches in between my loops. Now the other thing, if you're interested in tatting or just interested in listening to it, when you finish a set of Picassos, or if you only do one Picasso, that last Picasso in there, not the half stitch, but the Picasso, the last half, the last stitch there, is the first stitch of your next set of 4. So I've already got, I'm going to do 4 more double stitches now, but I already have the first half stitch on there because it is the last stitch of my Picasso. So I've already got 1, so now I'm just going to put 3 more on there. So this is 2 and 3. And I do not tat fast, you guys. If I try to tat fast, I make a mess. And, you know, I like what Mikey at the Crochet Crowd says. He says, it's a journey, it's not a race. So there I have the 4 double stitches, 3 picots, and 4 double stitches. Now for my bottom ring, I'm going to do 4 of these sets of picots. So just let me, I'm not going to talk through it, I'm just going to do it. And this is not the split ring. And then a half stitch. Whoops, I didn't get it on there. And then my larger. A half stitch. And when I'm working at my recliner, I'm a lot more comfortable. I don't really stitch under the camera or on a table like I am now. All right, now I'm ready to do 3 more. So there's 2, 3, 4. Now I'm ready to do, I've got 2 sets of picots on there, and I want 4, so I'm ready to do another set here. Half stitch. And I was watching, because I've been watching tatting videos, mostly online tatting class, but YouTube says, oh, she's interested in tatting. We'll throw some more videos at her. And I was watching a short of a young man who was tatting. And he was explaining, he does shuttle tatting, and he was explaining what is shuttle tatting, what a shuttle was. I was impressed. I was impressed. He couldn't have been any more than 20, age 20. He was a young man. And I'm going, oh, how nice to see a male do tatting. And we have some males in the tatting class. Now, another thing that Katia talks about is checking your tension. And this is good to check every now and then and make sure you don't have any unwanted gaps in there. And what she'll do is she'll spread out her double stitches and then close them all together again. Kind of check that everything is nice and neat. Now I've got 3 sets of double stitches. I want to do 1 more. On these that I did on here, I only did 3 sets of double stitches. But I goofed once because I wasn't paying attention, and I put an extra set of double stitches on there, and I really like that. But to be consistent on these blue ones that I've done, I've only did 3 sets. So I want to do 1 more set here. So a small one, a half stitch, a larger one, and again, I'm not a fast tatter. It's a journey, it's not a race. And a smaller one. And now I want to do my last 4 double stitches, and I've already got the first double stitch, which is the last stitch of my picot. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this is a ring, a traditional ring, with 4 sets of picots on it, with between 5 sets of double stitches. So now we're ready to close the ring. So what I do is and I picked a lot of this up from Katia. This is nothing, I'm just kind of showing you. set it in the palm of my hand, and I pretend like my needle is coming between my index finger and my little finger. So kind of hold it like that, and of course push your needle up. And you're going to pull all of these threads off of your needle and onto this thread. And I'm going to pull this tail a little shorter here. So, and then you can kind of close it up while you're pulling it. But what this does, when you put this in between your index finger and your little finger, is, and you'll see this, this thread will tend to tangle any needle. And if you pull fast, I found if you pull slow, you'll get less tangles. If you just go slow, if you stitch fast, that thread is coming through so fast that it catches on to each other and it can cause you issues. But I am looping that thread around this little finger. So all you're doing is pulling those, and I don't think you can see too well, but you're pulling all of those threads off of your needle. I'm just pulling the needle through. And I'm going to, at this point, set my needle down. But can you see how that thread is starting to gather? And the reason you keep it around your finger is that you want it to gather in here on your finger rather than down here at the end where it can cause a serious knot. And kind of try to keep it straight as you go, but as you pull this thread, it will tend to want to gather. See how it's pulling? And you can straighten this all out before it causes an issue. And I find if you go slow, especially the first couple rings that you do, the more rings that you do, the shorter this thread gets. And I'm going to show you why you want a longer thread with a split chain. If you're doing normal rings, you don't really need this big. Well, it depends on the size of your project too. But see how when it gathers, it's gathering here, and you can straighten it out easier than if it gathers and knots in there at the end of your chain, at the end of your picot. Okay, so now I have a loop around my little finger, and at this point, I take my needle and I slip it underneath the loop and pull it off of my little finger. And at this point, not everybody does, or I don't really know what they do, because I don't watch anybody but Katia in the online tatting class and any tatting videos. But at this point, I pull my thread through. And this is going to help close my ring. All right, so I pulled my needle through my loop, and now I'm ready to close the ring. And you just keep pulling. See how that makes a nice loop in there? And you pull that tight, and as you pull it tight, it forms a ring. And that's basically how you do a tatted ring with picots. Now I put 4 sets of picots on there because I think it's pretty. And that's how it looks. Just like that. And then when you're needle tatting, I don't think they do this with shuttle tatting. They do some other tricks in there, but for needle tatting, we tie a knot at the end of it. And now some people call this a shoelace trick. I call it a secure knot, but it is just a simple shoelace knot. You kind of create a loop here, and it depends on whether you turn your create a loop, and oh, I got it wrong here. And just tie a knot here. Come come under your loop and pull it through. And again, the more rings you put on here, the shorter your needle thread will grow. And then you make sure that that knot falls pretty down in there. Some people get it flatter. I'm still working on getting flat knots at the bottom of my rings. Excuse me, I still got that cough. All right, now we're ready to do what they call a split ring, and this is what I really wanted to show you. But you really start a split ring either off of a chain or another ring. And they use split rings to do things like this. If you want to tap vertically, or you could turn it this way and tap horizontally, depending on the direction that you want your piece to go. But you also, let's just pretend that this is a motif in here. Let's say this is a circle of rings, and I've closed it off, but I want to go to the next layer. Well, how do you get there? You can either do, well, you have to jump to the next row. I think if you did chains, you would still have to jump to the next row. So they usually, in tatting, use a split ring to create a ring here to go to the next row. And I think there's such things as split chains too, but I haven't done that yet, so I'm not even going to talk to it. But just know that it probably exists. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap 1/2 of the split ring over here and 1/2 on the other side, and then we're going to pull and close them. And to do that, you just start out tatting. Now, when I tap my split rings, I'm only going to put 1 set of picots on each side. I'm not going to do 4. 4 is only for the bottom ring. So I do my 4 double stitches. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 double stitches. Now I'm ready to do my set of picots, which I'm going to do a medium, a large, and a medium. So a medium is probably about 3/8 of an inch for me for what I'm doing. That's how I go by. But a medium would probably be the width of 2 double stitches. So, and then I'm putting a 1/2 stitch in between. Now I'm going to do the longer one. And pull it closed and put a 1/2 stitch. And now another shorter one, or medium one. Now I'm ready to put in my last 4 double stitches, but I already have 1 on there because it is the last double stitch of the picot. And that counts as the first double stitch in your set of 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I have one side of my split ring done, and it's just 4 double stitches, a set of 3 picots, and 4 double stitches. So now what I want to do is do the other side. And in order to do that, what we do is you turn your needle this way. If you're right-handed, you might turn it the other way if you're left-handed. I'm not left-handed, so I can't really speak to that, but just be aware of it if you're left-handed. So you turn your needle. I turn it clockwise, so I just flip it over like this. And your eye of your needle is here. Now you have your threads. You're still threaded, but if you try to tap with this thread, you're going to get your tail all messed up into your, so you unthread you unthread your needle, and that's why your needle threader becomes your friend. You unthread your needle, if I can see the thread here. And the reason that you need a longer tail thread, I said I used about 4 feet to do five rings here, a chain of 5 rings. But the reason you need a longer thread is that you're going to tat using your needle thread and not your ball thread on the other side of your split ring. And you do the same thing, you do 4. And I find that after I put my first chain stitch on, it's a little bit easier to hold it there. But see, here's the first half. Now we're doing the second half, and we're tatting toward the eye of the needle using the needle thread. So this would be 2 and 3 and 4. Now I go a lot faster when I'm sitting by myself and I'm not really talking through it. Now we're ready to do the set of Picasso, so I'm doing a medium one. Close it up, a half stitch, and a longer one. Close it, close the Picasso, do a half stitch, and another shorter one here. Now I don't do a half stitch after this one. This last half of my Picasso stitch here is the first stitch in the set of 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we turn our needle back, and I say I turn it counterclockwise. So I turn it back that way. Here's my needle thread. No, that's my ball thread. Be sure to keep your, no, that's my needle thread. Keep your needle thread at this point, because I have tangled this needle thread up with the, it went around, and then when I go to close my ring, I pull this thread here when I shouldn't. So keep your needle thread separate from your ball thread in here. But see what I have? I have one side of my split ring here and the other side here. And I could have put another set here and had 4 sets of Picassos like I do here, but I think it's prettier just to have 2. Now you need to rethread your needle, and that's why you will probably have to do this for as many rings as you make, many split rings that you make. But I'm only making 5, so I only have to rethread my needle 5 times or 4 times. And the lighting in here is bad, so let's see if I can't get this through my needle. Make sure that your needle thread is not tangled up with your ball thread at this point, because I've done it several times and I have to undo my, excuse me, undo my loop and do it right. I can't see where I'm going to have to hold it where I can have better light. And you rethread your needle here. And pull that through, pull up toward the eye of the needle, grab a hold of the little wire here if you're using a handy hands needle threader, because you don't want to pull that wire out, and then pull the threader off. Now we're ready to close our ring. And you just kind of do the same thing. I kind of hold it in the palm of my hand, pretend like my needle is going between my index finger and my little finger. Make sure your ball thread is out of the way here. I kind of try to, well, that's my ball thread is over here. Keep the ball thread away from the loop that forms in here. All right, now you just kind of pull it closed. And again, your thread is kind of long until you get several chains in. It gets shorter the more you work. Now I'm ready to put my needle underneath of my loop and pull it off of my little finger and pull it through. Pull it through, pulling it through my loop, and then I tighten up close my ring. And there we go. And then I do the secure knot. You really want to do a knot when you're needle tatting this way, when you're doing what they call self-closing mock rings, and that's kind of what this is. Only they call it, this second one they call a split ring. The first one is just a normal ring. And then you just tighten it up and you're ready to do another one. So here we go. This is what I have. So let's do one more and I'll work through it without explaining it. It'll go a little faster. And then I'll stop and we'll move on. Because I want to do some other things. So this side of your split ring, you work off the ball thread, the first side. It's after you turn your needle that you work off your needle thread. So I've got my 4 double stitches on. I'm doing a small Picasso. Whoops. Now see, I got that smaller than I wanted, so I'm going to open this up a little while I still can. There we go. I tend to be making them smaller. One thing is I do not have good light in here. Although I have 3 lamps on, I need an overhead light. Three and 4. Now I'm ready to turn my needle clockwise, unthread it, and we're going to work off of the needle thread. And this, I've done a whole lot of these split chains, and the more you do, the easier it becomes to you. I thought, oh no, am I going to have to rethread that needle all the time? And when you're doing split rings, yes, but it becomes a habit, and it's not as troublesome after you do it hundreds of times. It's a little bit more troublesome in here because I don't have good lighting, but my last small picot here. There we go. Now I'm ready to turn it back and rethread my needle. And that's what you think, oh geez, do I have to do that every time? But it really, after you do it several times, you get used to it, and it's not as bothersome. Looks like I need to pull that last picot a little there. I'll do that after and if I forget a picot or something because I'm just doing a tassel, it really will not show that bad. I got to get this over where I can see the eye of the needle in the light. Come to the light. And see the thread here, the center of the needle threader. Get in there. It's hitting my finger. Now we're ready to close it. And when you're sitting doing this by yourself, it goes a lot faster. And you get used to it and you get into a rhythm. It almost becomes meditative. And I'm working on my fairy tale story, and I'm at the point to where I have it all down in my head, and I've been repeating it several times to myself because it's a longer fairy tale, and I don't want to mess it up when I'm telling it. So, and the more you tell it, the more you get it down in your head. And I'm just about ready to tell the first fairy tale in the Diggity Fairy Tale book. But I kind of wait until my voice clears up a little bit or two, and I don't do so much of this coughing. I think my coughing might be garden related. I think I got some of that dust in my lungs. I didn't realize that it was going to be so dusty. I will come in after working in the garden and my feet are just black. That compost is a real fine compost. All right. And another thing you want to do is kind of make your rings the same size. Like this ring I pulled pretty tight. I'm going to open it up a little. See, it's a little bit smaller. Open it up so it's about... And Katia, the Tatting Muse, she will fold the rings over on themselves to make sure and kind of measure them off that way. She shows us how to do that. A lot of what I have learned about needle tatting, the majority that I've learned about needle tatting, I've learned from Katia, the online tatting class, and she's doing her own channel now. Now I want to do the secure knot. And I'll finish this chain of split rings off of the offline. I'm going to quit after this one. I got it tangled up in here. Where's my thread? There we go. So that is the first three. This one's a little bit bigger because it's got four sets of picots on there. And on these, I've only got one on each side. But I like it that way. And I'm going to I think I'm going to do 15 of these again and make me a nice This one's getting all tangled up, but make me a nice tassel about that size. So I hope you've enjoyed this little demonstration. This is not really a tutorial, but I wanted to talk through how to do a split chain, how I do it. And pull this Picasso a little. Here, I went shorter on this first one for some reason. But by the time you get all of these put together, it's gonna all blend in. And I've got another one on this desk somewhere. So I'm working on my 4th chain. 4 out of 15. But like I said, when I'm working by myself, it takes me about a half an hour to do a set of 5. So that is all I wanted to really show you with the tatting. And I'm going to take this entire desk and move it off this table here. My little line calendar is wide enough that it fits between the arms of my chair, and it really makes a nice table. And I've got these little sticky mats that hold everything down. I really do like these. I'm going to buy another set of these. I think they come in sets of 6, and they're about $6 or $7. Very cheap. Let me pull one out and show you. It's a sticky mat like that, and they're pretty thin, but boy, I'll tell you, they've got strong holding power. Well, that's a pretty heavy. Let's do the needle threader. So, it's really nice because my crochet hook, always, I've lost so many crochet hooks, and they fall off of my table or off of my whatever I'm working on, and it usually goes under my recliner. I'll bet I have 3 or 4 crochet hooks underneath of my recliner. Okay, I'm going to move this off, and I'll look at chat, and we'll move on to something else. Let me move this aside. I might take it out in the other room. I'll put my stamp that I was working on here. Oh. Let me take this out in the other room. Get it out of the way. Okay, let me come out and look at chat. Oh, did I move my... Let me go get my phone. My phone was on there. Let me get my phone. We opened a card from Arlene this morning, and I showed you how I did my split rings. And this is a stamp that I carved the last time I went online. And I got my lady, faces are hard to carve. I got my lady's, she really needs a line in here. Let me just draw a line on this one, or maybe on one of these. Because it looks like she's, see, I've got a line there. It looks like she's fatter than she really is. And it comes, her neck comes like this. But I really don't like that area in there. On here, this was my inspiration photo. In here, see, it has that little space between the head of the cat and the lady's neck. I don't like that little space in there. So I left it off of my stamp, but it makes it look like she's got a really fat neck. There was one thing, if I could recarve this stamp, I would put that line back in there. But I can draw it in there if I want it in there. And carving a lady's face You really need a larger stamp to carve because there's no way I could do that face in there. This is more stylized, lady. So I'm not going to work on that today. I'm just showing it to you. I'll leave it out while I'm looking at chat. Let's go look at chat. Let's go look at chat. If I can bring it up. Come on, chat, come on. Give me my chat. Sometimes I have to close it out and come back. And then it takes a while for my chat to come back. I don't know why. Yeah, hold on. Give it a minute here. Come to my chat. I've been watching a lot of car crashes. I call it the modern day cowboy and Indians, those car crashes. Skip my ad. See my chat. There you are. The kitty. Yeah. Carvings are amazing. Great work. Thank you, Sylvia. That's okay, Angie. Oh, Legia was here. She had to probably go to work. She says, bye all. She says, I hope everyone has a good Friday and get to make lots of arty things. Oh, I miss Legia. Dar is here. Hi, Dar. Alrighty, peeps. I gotta get to work. I gotta jet to get to work, she says. Legia, have a great day at work. I should pick back up again on tatting. Yes, she should. Legia says, nice. She's doing some little dragonflies in there. Hi, Angie and Dar. Dar says, hi, Angie. Angie says, hello, all that came into chat. Legia says she's watching and listening while I GRFW, get ready for work. Thank goodness for tomorrow is Saturday. Yes, the weekend is here. Sylvia says she loves the tatting demonstration, such beautiful craft. It really is. Now, a lot of people think it's a lost art, but I think the internet has brought a lot of the tatters together. You're seeing more and more tatting videos online. You're seeing a lot of beautiful work is done. Now, I am following the online tatting class. That's what it's called. It's all one big long word, the online tatting class here on YouTube. And they have a website. They have classes. They have free patterns out there. They have a pattern library. And I say free, they're not really free. They are tatting patterns that the designers have given her permission to upload. I do find that the tatting designs and the tatter designers they get very insulted, and I would too. I understand it if somebody violates their copyright. They're very tight on copyright, and well, they should be. But on the opposite side, I mean, how can you make, there are some things in tatting that are generic. A ring is a generic ring. You really, some of the motifs, I think a clover is a generic tatting motif. I don't think that you can really copyright a motif such as a clover or a ring or chain. Those are pretty general techniques that have been passed down through the ages that have come to us. There's really no copyright on them. It's how you use them and the pattern and the design that you create from them that becomes copyright. And online, there's a lot of, I don't want to say duplication, but designers, and you'll see the same thing in the other arts, designers will put up something and it will get stolen and people will claim it as theirs when it's really not theirs. And I know at the online tatting class, they are very, very stringent on copyright. They touch on it. We just had a big class on it just a week or so ago. Somebody put up a pattern or a link to a pattern that violated the copyright of somebody else, and the online tatting class got contacted, and I imagine she took it down. I mean, she didn't put it up. The administrator did not put it up. Some member put it up. It wasn't me. But on the opposite side, I will say that I'm very reluctant to put up. Now, what I showed today was very generic. I don't think that you could copyright what I did online this today, because it's just a chain of split rings. I don't think that could be copyrighted. But if I made a beautiful tassel and did an entire project, I might be able to copyright that. But it kind of varies on to what people are doing. And I consider my tassel my own work. I did not look at anybody. But if I decided to sell that as a project, I'd probably research a little bit closer. And, you know, if you're going to sell something, you want to make sure that you're not violating somebody else's. I mean, sell the pattern, you know. And a lot of people do sell their patterns. But I'm really reluctant to put up a lot of what I'm considering doing. I'm still a beginner. So I'm kind of focusing on learning all the techniques before I do any serious designing. But I have all these things in my head that I want to do. And the more I'm online, the more I see, the more I learn, you know. So, but there is, like, how could you copyright a wreath? Like I tatted for one of my Christmas projects that I sent out to everybody. I tatted these wreaths. And I kind of wonder how those are holding up, because I was a beginner tatter when I did those. So take it as what they are if you got one. All right, I was looking at chat. Dar came in. Becky said needles would be in the notions. There's Becky. She dropped a link to the tatting.com. Handy Hands is a good supplier. There are other suppliers out there, but Handy Hands is probably one of the best places that you can get tatting needles, at least here in the United States. There are probably some other places, but I can't say what they are now because I don't know. You probably go online, find tatting needles. Jacqueline has a death in the family. She will not be selling tonight. And I'm back up to chat. So thank you, everybody who come in. There's Sherry Van is in the balcony. She's getting ready for a vacation with her kids. All right, Sherry, have a really good time with your family. Verizon messed up a lot of people's phones. Mary, mine does the same thing on chat. Yeah, I don't know if that's Verizon or Samsung or YouTube when the chat won't come up. I tend to think it's YouTube because your chat file is a separate file from your video file. And they have to sync all that together. That's part of when your video processes. And that's why it takes a little bit more time for your chat to come up, watch chat stream after they've closed out a live stream. That's what my understanding is. I got a bit of a headache this morning. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to turn my phone off and set it aside because I don't want to put anybody in timeout. I'm not going to carve this morning. Let's see. Let's do something more fun. Let's work in my packing paper journal. And I also want to work on my workbook, but we'll do that. We'll come back to that. I've got some scraps here that All right, let me zoom out. We're going to work in my packing paper journal. This is a little bit more fun. How is that? Can you guys see that? I'll have to wait till my camera catches up. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to collage these napkin scraps in. I have some collaging to do. And let's take this off. That's really the back of it. So this is a packing paper that I got when I bought from Debbie Epps. And I made these, the packing paper, and I've showed this before, the packing paper comes like this. Well, this is not a good, let me find one. The packing paper itself has a seam down the center. It's 2 sheets put together. 1, 2, and it's glued down the center here. And that's how it comes. I'm going to have to find out from Debbie where she gets this, because I'd like a roll of this. And of course it's all wrinkled up because she used it as packing paper in her, what she sent to me from the sale. Well, it come in a long strip, and so I smoothed it all out, and then I cut it in these, they're about 5.5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way, and I think 5.5 this way. I cut it into these strips like this with the center glue in there and folded it in half, and it makes a nice little signature, and I'm calling it my packing paper journal. And I got more of this paper, but this is enough. So let me put these, let's get back to my work here. I have some signatures here that I'm working on that need to be finished. And this is catching. I think that's one of them. Looks like that came out of something. And here are some things that I want to put in. Put that up there. Here's a signature. I think I have 4 signatures that I'm working on. So let's move this set of signatures off my desk and we'll just check. This is one of them. This is a French lady out of that. And I should do some more scans. I've got an 1865 book of French newsletters, and I've been sharing the illustrations out of them. I haven't done that recently. But most of these, I think this one might be done. No, I've got 1 page to work on here. 1 page. Let's glue some napkin in. Man, I've got a little bit of a headache this morning. I don't usually get migraines, but I slept good last night. And I'm just using a glue stick, and this one might be getting down there. I'm just using a Pen Plus Gear, which I get at Walmart. I find that these ones, I get these in the office section, and these are the whiter ones that have the white glue. You get the smaller ones, they have the purple glue in them. I prefer the white glue, although the purple glue is not that bad. It looks like that's going to fall out. This is getting close to the bottom. And they come 3 to a pack, and they cost $3, I think, $3 or $4, $3.50, something like that. I forget what they cost. But I find that the glue is nice and sticky. I don't mind working with it. And they're available. I like that I can just go and buy some when they run out. All right. And I'm not being too particular little particular, but not too. I'll have to come back and glue that down. And I might have to go take an aspirin. Not yesterday, but the day before, I tatted almost all day to finish those blue pieces I was doing. And I was up for a long time. I couldn't sleep. But I slept good last night. I don't know why I should have a headache this morning. All right. That's good. Now let's trim. Let's do some trimming. Whoops, I wanted it to go in there. This one's getting down to the bottom. I'll be digging that out. Alrighty. So we've been working in the garden. I finally got that pile of dirt flattened out. Oh, you guys. We were tilling, not yesterday, the day before yesterday. Because of we had so much rain here, the weeds out in the garden just started growing, and I do not want a garden of weeds. And I bought all that compost, and I'm not going to let the weeds take over. What I don't get planted, I'm going to put landscape fabric down. I'll have to do another garden walk when things get growing a little more. I bought grow bags for the potatoes, and my potatoes are starting to they're starting to grow, which yay! I've never planted potatoes before. Let's put a Tim Holtz thing in there. So I'm excited for my potatoes to grow. I bought a sweet potato vine, but the rabbits have been eating my watermelon. I replanted the watermelon. I planted some, I planted 3, and the rabbits ate them. Went out the next day, and they were gone. So I replanted them. I reseeded them in here, and it took about a week for them to get yay high. And I planted them out there, and I put rings around them, like coffee cans, and the rabbits ate those. So I had 2 left in the house, so I put them in a different spot, and I have these plastic milk cartons that I cut the bottoms out of and the tops out of. I put that around it, and then my brother drinks his A&W root beer, which is a clear plastic bottle, and I tore the label off of that and cut it in half and poked a lot of holes and cut some holes in them to give it air. And so I put that, here's my watermelon. I put the milk jug around that, and then I put the clear plastic over that, and then I held it down with a brick. Now I only do that at night. During the day, I'll go out, and when I'm working in the garden, I'll take that off so that my plants can breathe a little. And then when they get high enough that hopefully the rabbits won't eat, and when they start to vine out, I think that they'll be pretty safe to uncover. Manufacturer. Oh, I kind of like this one too. We need a lighter one on here. That one's hard to read. So we got 2 watermelon plants that are, and that will give us plenty of watermelons for my brother and I. I'm deciding which one I want to put on here. Ooh, maybe this red one. I like that. And I like this blue one. Yeah, I like the red one better. It's another ABC. Album. This would be nice for a flip. All right, I think I'm going to go with this red one here. Put these back in. But I convinced my brother to retill what I haven't planted because I don't want the weeds to take over. And he'll get the tiller. He's got to adjust the wheels and make sure there's transmission fluid and oil and all that. He'll set it all up for me. And he taught me how to use it. It's a big old tiller. It's a heavy old thing. And I tilled. I have some gladiolas growing at the end of my garden here. And they're not blooming or anything. I think I planted them too deep. But they come up every year. And we retilled that whole spot earlier this spring. And they still came up. So they're saying, we belong here, even though we're not going to bloom for you. And then I planted a row of marigolds here. I have a bucket of flowers, a blue tub of flowers here, and a blue tub of flowers there, some landscape fabric. Over here is where I have my watermelon. Over here is where my 8x4 raised bed is. I planted some pampas grass there. I've got lavender and butterfly weed in a tub, long tub there. Yesterday we planted 4 short rows, shorter, they're probably about 10 feet long, but we planted 4 of them, of sweet corn. Now our sweet corn was late this year because this was a great big pile of dirt. And it took me a long time to get that all used up and put in tubs. And on the corner here, I have a sweet potato vine. Over on this side, there's a squash, cucumber, tomato plants, zucchini. And I think my brother has an eggplant in there. I didn't realize he did that. And then I have a Roma tomato plant. And then I have petunia way over here. Way over on the side here, I've got a set of petunia planters and a chive plant and some onions in there. And then there's a set of railroad ties off to the side. And then I had my brother several years ago, till up a strip there. One year I had beautiful canna bulbs in there. Well, I'm so mad at that Holland bulb farm, I'll never buy from them again. Never. Because I ordered those earlier this spring. They were supposed to be here like the middle of April. They didn't come until the middle of May. And there was a set of 10. 2 of them are coming up. The rest of them, I'm going to leave them in there and see if they'll eventually come up. Sometimes it takes a while for them to pop through. But I told them, I said, you guys, if you have to wait 30 days to get a plant order, and of course they defend themselves. They say, well, we warn you that, and I'm going, why did you put that warning up? And of course they wouldn't refund my money. And I imagine there have been other complaints. But they say, well, it depends on the availability and all of that. Well, I should know. They should post there if it's not going to be available. They take your money, but they don't deliver. And I told him, I said, I'll never order from you guys again. I was very unhappy. But I put 3 mineral tubs of potato vines that are coming up. I think they're going to do good. And And then I've got the 2 canna bulbs that are coming up. But I weeded this whole patch in there, and I planted a row of coneflower. It's kind of older seed. I'm going to, because I thought, well, I might as well throw it in there. So I planted behind those canna bulbs that aren't coming up, and close up to the railroad ties, I planted a big row of coneflower. I'm going to see if it comes up. And then in front of the bulbs, I planted a row of marigold seed. So I'm not quite there with the flower garden that I wanted, but it's been a lot of work in my garden just to get it set up. I mean, because this compost, we composted the whole garden, and it had to be all spread out, all nice and pretty and flat, and I still had a big pile there I was working on. I did get, this side is pretty much done over here, but this side in here is still pretty blank in here. It's all just, and so that we've had so much rain that weeds are starting to pop up. So I got my brother to get the tiller out, and he sets it up for me, and I till it now. Well, I was tilling away, and I was working on this area here where we planted the sweet corn, and I heard it pop. And I stopped, and I told him, I said, it popped. And he said, oh, it's just the engine. He said he didn't think it was serious. Well, I tilled around the square there on the other side of my gladiolas, and I tilled a little in here. I tilled the space. I'm sure glad I tilled that. It was kind of hard to till the space where we're going to put our sweet corn. And I tilled down here. Well, I had the middle yet to till, and I was working over here, and that engine, I thought it was going to explode. It just smoked and billowed out smoke, and it scared me. I ran away. Well, my brother, he kind of watches me till in case I have any trouble, and I ran into trouble there. And he ran over and he turned it all off. It was still smoking. I was really afraid it was going to explode or have a fire. He checked the oil. He said, well, it needs more oil. And he said, I thought I put enough oil in it, but he said he had to go to town and get more oil. So he ran to town and got oil, and he put it in there, and he restarted it, but it still smoked. And he said, well, he thinks that the tiller's pretty much shot. He said he could take it in, and he thought it was a piston or something, a piston ring. I don't know what it is, but he said it'd probably cost him more to take it in and have it fixed. And who knows, it might have burnt the engine out. He said he'll probably take it in and have it cost more to have it fixed than, he said, we'll just buy a new one. That's what he said. But I don't think it's going to happen this year, because I still had this, and he thought maybe we could call my nephew and have my nephew has a tiller and have him come down and fix it in there. Well, yesterday I was out weeding. We planted our sweet corn, and while I was weeding in here, I weeded my gladiolas, and I was just digging up with the hoe and the spade. I was just digging up the little weeds in there, and I think that I can finish it in here because it's not total weeds, it's just spotty weeds. And I said I'll just hoe it up. So that's kind of what I'm going to work on today. I just have various tasks. I need to clean the bird feeder. I haven't put up my bird feeder yet. I need to clean the bowl out. I like to clean it every year. Clean it out good. So I have that to do. And then out on the corner, where we have our black walnut tree, like this, say this is the street here and it comes around that way. Well, we got a corner here where there's a black walnut tree. And we got hollyhocks growing around there. They're volunteer, but they're going to be really pretty this year. I planted some begonias around in there. I have 2 tubs around the black walnut tree, and I have marigolds growing over in here. I still have some space in there. I'm thinking about throwing some old seed in there and see what comes up, but I don't know. But there's a sidewalk here, a little grassy plot, and then my brother built a row of, I mean, these have been built long time ago, a row of a stone brick just a short row, maybe 2 feet high, of stones. And there's just from mowing and weeding, there's kind of at the base of that stone wall, there's a base in there that's just kind of dirt. Well, we've got some vine growing over by the house that I'm going to transplant in there. And if that vine would take over this whole grassy spot, it would not, between the sidewalk and the fence, it would not hurt my feelings. Because that's just a narrow spot in there. It's hard to mow. It's not hard, it's just an effort. That's my garden story for today. I was going to put this down. Do I want to flip it? I think I do. So I'm just going to fold it back. Man, I've got a headache. What time is it? 7:45. Oh, about an hour left here. Maybe I can make an hour. I might have to go get an aspirin. Got kind of a migraine this morning. I don't know why. I very seldom get headaches. Do I want it there or do I want it over here? I think I want it over to the side. Let more of that flower show. And let's do something here. I've got an envelope of, where are they? I've got an envelope of collage things. Now, I'd have to put it upside down. That's a possibility. This is a possibility. Let's put this one on. And I'll put it upside down so when I flip it, it'll be right side up. And this is not straight. Not a straight fold, Mary. Now let me. So I've been fighting this cough in my throat, and I'm wondering, I know I've said this several times, but I think it's from the garden. I think I got that stuff in my lungs. Because this has lingered on. The cough has lingered on. Now, I'm going to put this down with the Fine Art glitter glue. I find that tape on these folds doesn't really hold long term. Let's see, I want to put it down this way. But I'm going to put this on first. I'm going to put this on with glue stick. And I'll put it on upside down so that when I flip it, it'll be right side up. So it goes like that. I don't know how I folded that. I'll put it on that side. And I should have a magazine under this. Keep Jacqueline in your thoughts and prayers. She had a death, I guess Angie said it was her cousin that passed away. And so keep her, Jacqueline, and your family, her family, in your thoughts and prayers. She won't be selling tonight. I hope you're all off to a good weekend. I've got a few things to do in the garden, but I think I'm going to start working in this room now. There's a shelf over by the door that I'm going to take out and move a shelf that I have in the middle of the room over by the door, give me more floor space. And I really need to sort out boxes and stuff. All right. So I'm going to put this, get that out of the way. I'm going to put this down in here. And it'll flip up and you'll see this. Whoops, I put it wrong. Well, it's down. I guess I could take and move it. It's not down that. Is it down? Let's move this the other way. I put it wrong after I was saying I want it upside down and everything. I put it the wrong way. That's how it goes with Meri. She knows what she wants to do, but when she does it, she goofs. I'll re-glue this. I have plenty to do in this room, but now that the gardening is kind of widening, let's see, is that right? Yeah. The gardening is kind of winding down. It's a matter of watering and weeding and taking care of things rather than planting and prepping and all of that. Now it's right side up. Let's put the cap back on the glue stick and put glue on this. And I need to open this up a little. Hopefully that did the trick. No? It's starting to come out. It just needs a little help. There we go. Now I'm going to put it over to the side. Maybe over a little. There we go. Set straight. I'll move that down a little if I can. Oh, I should have left that on. Let's put this back on. Come on, wiggly finger. I didn't need to cut that. That's okay. All right, let's put the and what else do I want to do here? could stamp my lady in here on a piece, but maybe not here. Let's see what I want. I've got scraps. I've been using my dolls. What else do I have here? I've got plenty to use. Those are the whiter ones. Let's see what I can find. These are napkins. I don't think I want those. So we're back to the dolls. That isn't really what I wanted either. Let's go back to those whiter ones, see what I can find. I need to clean this corner out. I need to work in this room. A lot of tissue paper. Oh, what do we have in here? Oh, let's take a magazine out. What's this? Oh, that's a bag of stuff. All right. Let's see what I can find in here. What's that? Looks like men. See what's in this magazine. County Register. There's a bicycle. Some doll or ladies. They look like dolls. Grand moments. There's a recipe from Lydia's spring pretzel flowers. Spring cleanings. Well, spring is over with, but that doesn't mean you can't clean. I'm going to take that out of here. Alright, spring cleaning, we'll say that. This is just an index of advertisers. International Quilt Museum is in Lincoln. Someday I'm going to go visit. A cup of tea with Lydia. I like to read her column. What's on the other side? Let's take the bicycle. And I usually grab 2 of these because they have plenty at that little quilt store where I go. And they don't mind it. I say I tell them I want one for a friend, but I don't tell them that they're both for me. Because I cut up one and I save one, and then I eventually cut it up too. But I save one to read. I'll save that. And let's see what's on the other side here. I still can get her recipe. And I haven't been going through the newspapers. My brother gets a daily paper. He likes to look through it, and he'll work the crossword puzzle. He's good at working crossword puzzles. He's a lot better at crossword puzzles than I am. And then he throws them over on the chair, and boy, do we need to take those to the recycling center. I might load them up in my car the next time I go. I'm not going shopping until my next check comes, but it should be here pretty soon. And I load those papers up behind the chair, take them to the recycling center, clean that corner out so we can put more. All right, I'm going to throw this away because I'm done with it. And let's see what I have in here. So I've saved the spring cleaning list, the bicycle, and Lydia's spring pretzel flowers. So I see a bouquet there, but how will it take off of this? It would. It'd come right into there. Do I want spring things here? It's a house. I kind of like that. The quilting issue. And there's some flowers there. So I guess I'll save this, and this one will get used up. This is the editor. We got a new editor. These are all local shops in Nebraska. Artistic Innovations, Nebraska. Looks like quilting things. Now booking traveling 2025 locations. Do you have 10 plus people interested in a class at your location? If so, call for more info. Mobile barn quilt classes. These are for barn quilts. Sewing machines and vacuums. Straight out of the ordinary Nebraska bed and breakfast. That's up near Omaha. What's on the back? More advertising. Sometimes you can find some interesting things with the advertising. Omaha Featherweight Club. Quilting classes at Mangelson's. There's a Mangelson's in Omaha. Retreat at the Creek. If you want to go to a retreat or have a retreat. The only thing I think I'm going to save here is the cover. Let's grab a ruler. Let's throw all of this away. I think I'll fussy cut this out. Let's tear it here. And I might be able to get this on a page. Maybe not. It's a little big. Tear it here. And I'm going to fussy cut this. Looks like a flower in here. Sometimes when I'm cutting bouquets and stuff, I'll do what I call tear cutting. I'll take and put my blade close up to the end here, and then I'll just kind of tear. But you have to be careful because you can rip it. But it kind of gives a raggedy edge. And then I can cut straight here. This is a house. It's a quilting issue. chimney up here. And my hands are shaky. They weren't that shaky when I was tatting. I had a cup of coffee this morning, but it shouldn't be that bad. Cut down this way. Let's see if I can get in there. Can't see. You have more light than I do, 'cause you have the camera. Scissors in there. There we go. The rest of it should be fairly easy. Come back to that. Oops, a little off there. Now I'm not going to save all that. I'm going to come clear up to here and get this to flower here. Yeah, I guess I should have gone in a little. Now that's part of this in there. So I just have this. And I'll save this leaf if I can. There we go. So I'll probably put that on a larger, in a larger journal. Now, what's this? Carrot cake muffins recipe. There's a rabbit design there. I'm not so interested in that. Carrot cake recipe I can probably get out of a recipe book. And on the inside here, quilt. These are advertisements, Humble Life Acres, The Gift of Today, Living in the Moment of Your Journey article. I'll read that in my other issue. Becoming Inspired, Landscape Awakenings, Cavern Fever, Shopping Events, and Shifting to Spring. History of Leprechauns. I might save that. Let's see what's on the other side. Oh no. Yeah, they always put interesting stuff back to back. Why do they do that? This is a recipe for surviving heartbreak. This is a girl wisdom. I'm going to cut it out. I'm not so interested. I haven't had any recent heartbreak, but it depends on... Well, I think a heartbreak is being romance, but you could have heartbreak without romance. There's nothing on here that I want, except for the history of leprechauns over there. Oh, let's take it out. I'll save it and decide later which side I want. Whether I want the heartbreak or the leprechaun tidbits. I got a leprechaun book. Well, part of a book. She took some things out of it from Jacqueline. It's in one of my Jacqueline sacks from Lovely's Crafting Lodge. We'll just save that. I don't want this. Let's see what's on the other side. Subscribe. Anne's Loving Use. What's in a name? I don't see anything there. Frames. Quilting frames. A frame made out of quilt material. Cowgirl. Poet. Quilter. Entertainer. What is macrame and how to get started? I can get that from another book. I'm going to throw this away. Let's see. Or I have my reading issue too. Fabric Bash, Omaha Quilters Club. See, this is all about the little quilt shops in our area. My first quilt. I sewed and sewed, stitch by stitch, each stitch by hand. The first third all wrong, no rhyme or reason, and then the second third carefully planned. After listening to Richard, my husband, and seeing the first quilt of Karen, my dear friend, so measured and perpendicular fine, the last third, I just had fun, weaving a kaleidoscope of color and form like my life, messy, but strong in faith and love of family. I see the result, and like my life, I am well pleased. It is like this quilt, well sewn. Sheila Tinkham lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. She started quilting. I'm going to save that. I like that. There's nothing on this side. I like that. So let's cut that out. I have to tell you, I have not made a quilt. I've worked on quilts, my mother's quilts, and I need to get more of those quilts out and show. I kind of got sidetracked. My quilt, I was showing the quilts in my collection. Probably tear this easier than cutting it, but I kind of like that little, it's not really a poem, but it is really kind of like a little verse on her first quilt. And I'll save the credit. Alright, I'll save that. What's this? Quilting, how quilting can provide relaxation and mindfulness. I'll save that for my reading. Shop hops. And here they're showing how to a carrot door hanger. And I'm not really interested in saving that because I got another issue of this same magazine. And I'll keep that for that. I'm going to throw this one away. I got one more page here. Random acts, powerful and pounce. That's more of a reading thing. Girlfriend wisdom. What is the main thing? I like the girlfriend wisdom articles. Let's cut that out. Whoops. Could probably tear it easier than cutting it. And Peachy King Mims something or other. Granada. I don't drink. I don't know if that's drinking. Peach nectar, champagne, ice, fresh mint. I don't drink. We don't keep liquor in the house. My brother has some beer, but he doesn't. He only drinks it once in a blue moon when he's hot and thirsty. He used to drink more, but he doesn't get drunk. He's learned his lessons. I'll cut this border off here. Save that. Now I think we're back to the carrot muffins and the rabbit. Alright, I'm going to throw those away. I've got that other same issue. Alright, so what did I have in there? I got the girlfriend wisdom. I kind of like this little verse. I'll put that on one. And I got this and the home. Kind of like the idea of the bicycle in here. Spring list and a recipe. I'll put these in that bag. Even if I fold them, I don't mind them being folded. What's this? Is that a sticker? No. It's a sticker page that I started. It comes apart in parts. I don't care for those. I'll put it there. What else do I have in here? Nothing much in there. Alright, well, I didn't find much. I like this bicycle, but not going good. I like these two, but I'm going to put them on another page. I thought I put those away. Put them in here. I got my dolls. These really go on another. These aren't going to fit. I'm not having much luck finding something to go in there. So I guess I'll just wait until I find something that fits in there. Want something in there. I guess I'll just wait on that. Let's go to another signature. Let's see what I have in here. I did the Easter Bunny, dolls. I got a blank page here. I'm thinking I like this and this. I'm loving this. These I did separately. This is kind of like a monster bug here. I don't know what he's doing. And this I got separately, and it says, now what? I'd love to put those together. But maybe not there. Let's just collage some more napkins in there. Let's just do a quick collage in here. Get some stuff down. And I think I'm going to dig. Not that one. What was my digger? This is the digger. Man, I've got a headache. I can find a palette knife. Hold a minute. Let's dig some of that glue out. Did it with my magazine. Put it someplace. This is the old one. Comes way out. What did I do with it? I lose things with the, will that hold it? Waste not, want not. It's too bad you have to dig this stuff out of the, because there's a lot left in there. Man, I've got a headache. Migraine. I very seldom get those migraines. I'm going to tear that off. Put this one in here. Move it over just a teensy bit. It'll fit almost. Almost fits enough for me. A lot of glue on my knife. Now a little strip there that I can take care of. Maybe with this. Let's cut this off. I can. It's not quite long enough. Excuse me. Need something here. And more scraps, napkins to collage. Let's go back to that bicycle one. Let's kind of fussy cut him out. Ooh. I'm not going to save that. Well, yeah, maybe I will. Tire might be a little wonky. Not the best at fussy cutting this morning. I think my hands are more jiggly now than when I was tatting. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I don't mind a little white around it. It'll help. I might put something underneath of it. Get rid of all this extra space in there. I do not mind some white lines around my fussy cutting. All right, let's throw these away. Now, let's see what I have. Now, I need something under that. What do I want to put? Something like a red tissue. I got a red tissue. Leave. So I'm trying to pick the highest point to the lowest point and clip off down in there. Do I like that? Poor bicycle tires. Probably should have just left it alone. I don't even know if I like that. These two should go together. I guess it's this one. Alrighty, we're going to use this one. Maybe I can move it over a little. Go a little off of this. Okay. I'm going to throw this away. I don't need it anymore. So, off of there. Now it's on my finger. So right about in here. It won't be perfect, but it'll be okay. I don't mind if it's not all glued down. And then we'll put this there. Excuse me. Yeah. Right about there. Okay. Now, I've got some scraps here. I'll put that right down in there. Kind of balance it out a little. And it needs a word or something. I should have saved some of that quilting that I tossed around. I don't know if I have something I can pull off of one of these. Random Acts. I'm going to leave that line. Do I want to leave it? Yeah. I'm just not having a good day today. Got a bit of a migraine. No, I guess I'll cut that or tear it off. I can. Yeah, I like that. right there. So we can call that page done on this side, but let's see what I can put here. Well, I think I'll leave these because these are just words. It's easy to just line up things. I can't read that word. List, string of pearls, like a O. Something just like a string of pearls as time sails along with us and we sail along with time. I'm grateful for this. This, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Looks like the word gratitude. In our gratitude list, like a string of pearls. And then it talks about time sails along with us and we sail along with time. As time sails along with us and we sail along with time. And I've got a clock over here. So I think I want something in here, and I think I can call this, I should put something up there. I don't really care for this page. It was an Easter page. I like these. I kind of like this. I do like that. And this came from Jacqueline. She just put scraps together. So I need something down. In there. Maybe just even a napkin scrap. Let's put this. Sometimes it's easier just to fold it and tear it. Just something to fill in that space. Probably should do that up there too. Kind of gives me an idea. Of where to glue. All right, now what do I want to put up there? Another scrap. Those aren't singing to me. Those aren't saying anything. There we go. No. This I got from, go back 3 spaces, from Dee Dee. Willingham sent me a packet not too long ago of ephemera, and I pulled out the Monopoly cards because I thought they were cool. And I put some in my writing journal. I put one in here. There we go, that kind of fills in the spaces there. Find something to put in there. Put this one there, just to kind of fill in that space. There. I like that a lot better. And let that flourish in the background kind of fall into the background. It says Easter 2025. Got my 2 bunnies. I carved those bunnies. I cut out a bird. This is kind of a bird shape. Put a little beak on it. And I'm not sure what that is. This is some green ribbon. These are florals down at the bottom. And I put a wax seal up at the top that has a butterfly in it. I like this page a lot. Go ahead, be old-fashioned. This is the one with time. This one we did this morning. This is Jacqueline's scrap pack, probably a freebie. And that. So that signature is all done. Got some scrappies over here. You never know when you can use them. I kind of like this March, April 2024 kind of document when I did this signature. March and April. Oh, 2024? No, wrong year. Throw it away. I'm a year behind. There's a scrappy there. No, we'll save that for something else. What time is it? Oh, it's 8:54. A good place to quit. It's a good place to quit. So I'm going to let my tatting be my thumbnail. So I tatted and then I played in my signatures here. So have a great weekend. I will be back tonight. I don't know what I'm going to work on. We'll see. Random projects. So have a great day, and I'll be back on tonight at 7:30. I think Barb Owen is, if she streams, is on this afternoon. Somebody else is on Friday around Dana. Is it Dana or is that on Monday? I can't remember. I think Paint Girly. Oh no, this is not Friday. This is Thursday, isn't it? I'm sorry. I've got a little bit of a migraine. This is Thursday, so I will not be on tonight. Beth Schuler comes on tonight at 6. I'm sorry. This is Thursday. So I think Paint Girly is coming on. Or is this Friday? Gosh, let me check the time. This is Friday the 13th. All right, let's start this all over. This is Friday morning. I don't know. Let's see, Friday morning. Who comes on? Oh, Carol McDonald. I'm sorry. Carol McDonald, if she streams, she'll be on at 10. I think Mountain Time. I can't remember. Or it's 9 Mountain Time, 10 Central. She'll be on. Barb Owen will be on this afternoon. And somebody else comes on this afternoon. I can't pull it out of the tip of my tongue. And I will be on tonight at 7:30. Have a great day. I'll see you later tonight. Bye, y'all.